Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing pack 9, which is stages 39 to 44 of the Fanhome release of build Jeff Gordon's Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Now I haven't looked at the magazines and I've got 2 packs down here and I thought, what are we going to be doing today? And there's a lot of big pieces, big massive metal pieces, and I think it's the floor pan. Obviously we've done a lot of work towards the engine and the front frame of the car, so now we're working towards the middle of the car. Now I don't know if this is available. You want to check for yourself. I have put a link in the video description. You've also got that QR code on the screen, but without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so stage 39. Again, in the UK, we do get the magazines with our deliveries. I believe overseas, you may just get the digital copies. But as you can see here, we've got some reinforcement bars. And we've got some pipework and stuff to put in as well. So I guess we are still working on this front end of the car at the moment. We are going to be cutting some pipe as well. So there is quite a little bit to do in this stage. So here we go. Let's get all of this open. And I want to bring over what we have created in the last pack. That's looking just like that, but we are going to have it upside down. We should be able to safely put it upside down now. No problems like this without knocking anything off. I'm going to want to put these reinforcement bars between this section here and this section just at the top here. Now they are labelled, so this one has gone A on it. I'm holding them in with AM screws. I do need to make sure that this is going in this way, as you can see here, because this is actually going to fit underneath there, just like that. So just get that one in up there, and then just this one from the underside here. So I am making sure when I put this in that that reinforcement bar here is definitely just slipping under there, because there is a lip on this little bit of metal here, as you can see. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Now something I've just realised here is that we're supposed to have this screw hole facing down. So what I'm going to have to do is just pry this apart so that I can turn this around, because I want this to be the same way as that. But that was an easy fix. Okay, they're both in place. Let's put that to one side. And I'm going to bring over the coolant swirl pot cap, which is these 2 sections here going together to put in the cap into place over the top. Has got a D-shaped pattern, so can only go in one way. Excellent. And if you look at this side, we have got a keyhole pattern here. That's actually going to be going into the keyhole pattern just into the side here, like that. It's held in from the other side with an EP screw. So get that in there. And if you have a look here, we've got a clear bit of hose. This is the overflow hose. We need to put this into place. This actually goes on the nipple just at the top here. So that's in like that. Now, if I just put that back there, we've got some pipe here. We need to cut 2 lengths of 100mm first, which is there, and then 120mm, which is there. So the 100mm is going to go onto the nipple just on the bottom here. Probably will be far easier to do this with my tweezers. Perfect. And now the other side is going underneath this cross member here, and it's going to go into the blue nipple that we can see just here. Now we've got the radiator overflow hose, which is already in the car here. We can now connect this to the top of this tank. So they're 2 connected to that. I want to flip this upside down now. And if you have a look just underneath this cross member, I've got a silver nipple just there, which I need to connect this 120mm lead to, that we cut off. That's the lower fuel pump body. At the moment, we're not connecting that anywhere, so that can just stay loose. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to keep it down there just so I know where it is. Turn this back over again. And I've got these braided hoses here looking like that. What I want to do is make sure that the red side is facing out. I'm going to be putting them onto these points here, starting from the bottom. So I'll have one at the bottom and one in the middle. There's going to be none at the top nipple just there at the moment. But with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, stage 40. Here is the magazine. And as you can see, we've got the Firewall now with some parts we're going to be putting into this. Not a lot to do in this stage. And I can see this being the start of the big chunky metal pieces that I was mentioning. Because wow, this is one solid piece of metal, as you can hear. So I want this way round, and I've got a clip to put in first. Now that clip is going to be going on here, that way round. It's held in with an AM screw. So what I'm trying to achieve here is to have this keyhole pattern on this bracket to be facing upwards. Now I just had to look back through my video because I only have one of them. I'm meant to put one on here. I haven't got one, so that's probably going to cause us a problem later on. When we're attaching things, I'll have to figure out later on. Could probably phone for another one, a replacement, but I'll carry on. What I am doing though is going to be putting this clip onto the two holes which we can see just here. And I'm holding them in with CM screws. Obviously, if I do find them, or when I open the pack it just pinged off in a direction, I will put that on afterwards. I have had a good look around the workshop though, I can't see anything. And there you go, with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So, stage 41. Here's the instructions. And we've got the brake and clutch hydraulic reservoirs looking just like this. We're going to be adding this to the firewall by the look of that there. So we are now building up this firewall. And here is everything for stage 41. Being gentle now when I take this out. I mean, it can't really go far. It can't roll off the back because I've got a lip at the back. So first thing I want to do is just take a cap and put it on top of the reservoir there. We're going to be doing that twice. So I've got one here, I've got one over this side as well. Now there is a slight difference. This one doesn't have a lip. This one does, as you can see. So I want the one without the lip first. And that's going to be going onto the firewall. Now this one goes in the middle, just there, like that. I'm holding it in from the other side with AP screws. Get that nice and tight. Excellent. And then the other one I've got is going to be going in here. And that's the one with the lip. Once again, AP screw. So we've got two in there now. And then the smaller one on its own, which also needs a cap on it. So I'll put on now, just like that, is going to go into the other side there. Okay, I've got this little pipe now. It's an oil pipe. It's got a keyhole pattern, which is going to go into here. Again, this can only go in one way. Held in with an EP screw. So get that in there. Perfect. And then I'm going to be putting this onto the end of that. So that's how that pipe now looks on there. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So stage 42. Here's the instructions. Wow, this is why my box was so heavy. This is the floor pan here. We've got some more pipes here as well. But wow, this is absolutely massive. And it looks like we actually connect this to what we've done at the car as well. So this is a pretty monumental stage. This is how it's going to look. Excellent. And I'm not kidding you. Look how big that is. Let's get this open. Get this out. Wow, that is heavy. And you'll also be pleased to know that when I was on the floor, look what I found. I found this bit. So I am going to quickly just put this into here with the AM screw before I lose it again. This week's been a thing of losing things and finding things. What with a U-boat earlier on in the week, and now I found that piece as well. So, taking the firewall, and we're still working on brackets. I've got some brackets to put in here. So one's going to go in this side here, and the other one's going to go down the bottom over this side here. And they're held in with AM screws. These are going to go in from the other side. And it's handy having that keyhole pattern because I might have to use my bigger screwdriver here actually, because it allows you to see where you're actually putting these clips. So I've got two which are going down the bottom here as well, just like that. Excellent. So that's how all of those should look. Now we need to bring this section back over, and I'll need to remove the air filter from the top. And we've got this little tiny pipe here, which is a carburetor fuel feed. It's actually going to go on the end of this blue pipe just here. So let's push that on. So I am trying to do this freehand, which has worked. There we go, that's on. Then I'm going to be bringing over this massive section here. Let's have it this way round and put this into place. So this is going to go on top here, just like that. I'm just lining it up, as you can see there. It's going to fit in like that, but it's screwed in from the other side. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is put 2 AM screws in here. That'll start to get this together. Before I put this one down, you remember the 2 braided hoses that we put in? These 2 here, I need to make sure they're going over the top. There you go, they're at the top there. Another AM screw, just to start on this side. And then finally, the last screw I'm putting in here is actually an IM screw. I do think these ones are slightly longer. Perfect, so that's the bottom of the floor pan in place. Now I've got this braided hose here. This is going to be going into the top of the ones I've just pulled through the top. Remember there was a vacant hole? Again, tweezers are my friend here. And the other side is actually going to go underneath the floor pan. And it's going to come up in the hole just here. So as you can see, it's in there just like that. So if I just turn this upside down, you can see how that's gone in there. And I'm going to leave it upside down gently, because I've got to put a brace over where the transmission is here. It looks like this, and it's actually going to go inside underneath the exhausts here and sit in just there. It's held in with AM screws, so I'll get them in nice and tight. This is an amazingly detailed build. And then I've got some AP screws, and these are going to hold the actual gearbox here into place. That's perfect. That looks beautiful. I love that. Okay, and that is now how that's looking. So stage 43. Let's see if I can move this car slightly down here. Okay, here is the magazine. And we've got some boom tube exhaust pipes to put in, which look just like that. This looks like a quick stage, although we are now putting the firewall on, are we? Wow, there is actually quite a bit to do in this. It's deceiving, some of these stages, how much there is to do. Okay, the first thing we need to do has actually already been done for us. We need to take these 2 parts and put them together, but as you can see, they've already done that for us. Let's just make sure that I've clipped them exactly where they need to go, though. There you go. That looks just like that. Now, I have got some EP screws, which is going to help to hold all of this together. So, one here. And then I've just got 2 more on these sections here. And if you look here, we've got some stays at the bottom. Just these 2 here. Because what I'm going to do, bring over this front clip section again. And those stays here are going to go into the holes there. So when I push these in here like this, these will be able to be connected from the other side into the 2 screw holes here. Now they're held in with EP screws, just from this side. So one here, perfect, and then just one on the other side. Turn this back over. So I'm going to take this cross member now, put this into place just here, like that. And then I've got these two sections here to put in. They are labelled right. I believe this is the right one I'm holding, which is going to go in this side like that. And the left one is going to go in this side just like that there. But they're held in from the other side with AM screws. So probably best to hold it all with my hand here. Turn it over and then get them in here. So that's one in. Just turn this back over and put the other one in here. So as you can see, they're in there. Okay, I'm bringing the firewall up now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the brake cables now. So one there, one here, and I'm going to plug these brake cables, bringing that over into this connector I've got here. So one in here, let's have them routed a bit better. One in this side, that looks good. And then I've got this cable which come in this stage, which is going to be the third part of this tri-cable connector. So that comes out there. And then this is going to be going into the first nipple here. Just like that. Now that feels loose. I'm going to glue that in. Now I've got this cross member. Do you remember this? We had this in stage 41. This is actually going to be going into the sides here and over this side here now. Just get them in. Perfect. So that looks just like that. So putting a JM screw in through each side here and here. This stage certainly is involved, isn't it? Okay, so all I'm going to do now is put the firewall in place. So basically it's a case of making sure, so it's a case of lining this up. There you go, seating that into position just like that. Okay, right, AM screws. Let's start putting this together. So I'm going to do the top two first. We've got two AM screws to put in the middle. And then finally just two on the brackets down the bottom here. Now, do you remember we had this fuel line here that wasn't going anywhere? I need that now, because I want to route that back towards the firewall, which I've got here. Probably best on the top camera. I'm going to be putting it into the nipple that we can see on the firewall just there. Now, the carburetor fuel feed, which was this small pipe that we put in, is now just going to go into the nipple just here. There you go, that's in place. The pipe at the top here is going to go through the hole in the firewall over here, just like that. Now the free end of the oil hoses I put at the top here are going to be plugged into these blue connectors here. And one there. Perfect. I can now put this air filter back on top. Secure it down in the middle. But this time I've got two CM screws that I can attach it to that cross member here as well. So where that used to be spinning on top, it's not going to be able to do that anymore, as you can see. And with that in place, that is pretty impressive. That's all there is to do in that stage. That was actually a massive stage. So last stage of this pack is stage 44. Here is the magazine. And we've got the rear floor pan, which we're going to be putting into place. So this should be a nice quick stage to end on. It's also a nice big stage to end on. Look at that. So I think I can safely assume this isn't going to fit in my storage box anymore. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is we've got these roll cage rear braces to put on. Now these are going to be going into the little indents here, but I just need to make sure I've got these the right way round. I think it goes this way round, just like that. There we go. Do the same on the other side. And I'm going to want to hold them in with AP screws. They are held in from the other side, so the other one's probably going to fall out. Just while I get these in. That's one in one side. I can't believe I've managed to turn that around and it hasn't fallen out, so that's good. Just put the one in the other side. Some of these screw holes might have paint on them, so I'm just grinding the paint away so I can get this screw in here. So now this is going to be fitting on top of this section, just here, like that. Whoops. Do it again, just like that. So I need a whole heap of AM screws to put this in every hole that we can see here. This is the last screw just going in on this side. And there you go. That is all there is to do in that pack. And wow, that has certainly come along, hasn't it? Look at that. Firewall's in, engine's in, all the pipes are connected. Lovely, lovely car. Let's put that down there. I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Recording time for this, just so you know, is 1 hour 15 minutes. Take care.